Well, hi everyone, and welcome to our Friday Night Hate Speech. If you're wondering about the image on screen, it's about my latest video, which is called, uh, what was it? A Cute Cat Dreams of a Better World. And it's really a cat video. It has my cat Kissy on it. And with that cute title and everything, I put my cute little Kissy on the thumbnail. I decided to try and tempt YouTube into putting the video into the restricted mode because I thought it would just be hilarious if a video with a cute cat on the title and with the title Cute Cat Dreams of a Better World would land on the restricted list, because lately YouTube has been restricting all my new uploads. So there was a specific time when that's changed, and all my new uploads since that have been restricted, and it usually takes a couple of days for them to do that. And I just want to see that video getting restricted because, for example, Reddit and some sites like censoredlist.com collect these videos that get on the restricted list. And a lot of people browse them. And I just want to get that reaction that people browse these lists of restricted videos. Okay, Goebbels that, this, Hitler that, Hitler UFOs this, okay, race and intelligence, then Cute Cat Dreams of a Better World with Kissy on it. I think it would be so hilarious. So I decided to try and tempt them into doing that. And I simply filmed my cat when she was asleep. And I put a song by Fascist on it called Imagine All the Leftists. And it's a song with a bit fashy lyrics. So I think that might just be enough to push YouTube over the edge of restricting it, and it would be so funny.
If you didn't break the community guidelines, you wouldn't end up being in the limited state.
Actually, the videos that end up restricted don't breach the community guidelines. If they did, they would get a strike or something. But because they don't breach the community guidelines,
almost.
But some people find them offensive, then they land on the restricted state.
I'm allergic to cats, so I find it offensive.
And I don't know why YouTube made that up, because the strikes they give to videos have this far been so arbitrary and random that they could have just used that. Just keep using that to silence the videos you don't like, because that's what they've been doing with the strikes so far.
Yeah, we've been thinking that maybe since this limited state bullshit came at the same time as the Google memo, maybe there's some kind of connection that the guy that made the Google memo and got fired because of it, maybe he wanted to alert us that, okay, so what's the reason for this? Maybe the YouTube, the big guys were told that you must get rid of racism, and or because the fascists are winning, the alt-right is winning on YouTube. Nobody cares about SJWs and so on. So maybe they were told that you must do something, and the YouTube big guys told the Google memo guys, the transsexuals and whatever, that do something, and they were given free hands to tackle this problem. And this is what the outcome is, that for my channel was shut down. Swan is being put in limited state.
Or restricted state. Limited usually is meant for when the ads go limited. You know, with what happened to your channel at first, that the dollar signs turn yellow and your video isn't shown to advertisers, so you won't get much ad revenue.
But anyhow, there's this bullshit that videos get, I don't know, because we don't get so many views anyhow. We get a few thousand. So what is the problem? There's tons of cat videos and makeup videos that get millions of views. So they are more popular anyway. So what is the problem with this? What is the advertisers? Advertisers don't want these videos, so we don't get so much advertising money. We get lots more on super chat. We don't care about the ads. Okay, remove the ads. We don't give a shit. But this and anyhow, this restricted or limited state, it doesn't affect the super chat that people can send us on our live stream. So it's very
And it has actually worked in my favor because my channel was apparently the first channel to be hit, and it's pretty much the only channel that is hit like this. That usually most channels that have landed on the restricted list have had like 1 or 2 videos, specific older videos that have been restricted. But I, for some reason, I'm now in the state that all my new uploads end up restricted after they have been there for a day or 2. So since a specific date, all my new uploads have been restricted after 2 days. So I don't know why I bothered them so much. Like, why am I targeted? You'd think they do this to some bigger, more influential channel.
Yeah, the first was the Antifa rally in Helsinki. I think was it that one? The first video
that was the first one to get restricted.
So
no, it wasn't. The first one was the migrants stage a walkout from Finland to Sweden. That short video I made from here.
So we are talking about current events. Why aren't we allowed to do this, or what is the problem talking about this? But yeah, my channel was taken down, and I had been using YouTube for 5 years. I started in 2012, and I had about 1,000 videos. There was a lot of work effort put into these videos. There were tons of subtitles, live events, and so on. And every video was taken down, and I find it very unfair. And I would like to at least get my videos back so I can put them somewhere else. I wasn't expecting this, and it's because if there's leftists or these SJWs doing videos, they don't get their channels removed or limited or restricted or whatever. They have free speech. We don't. So why? Since there is a platform, everybody should be treated equally, because anything else is racism.
Absolutely. And Andrew is asking, Younes, does your recent imprisonment affect your political job?
Of course not.
In theory, they could get him out of the council if he did something serious enough. What was the minimum penalty for that sort of offense?
If I get a sentence of at least 6 months in prison, suspended or not, then they can vote and take me away. But then Swan will be replacing me there. So maybe they don't want that. And anyhow,
most likely they don't, because of course they would be no better off with me. I would cause them just the same amount of trouble, and if they went ahead and voted him out, I would like take that out on them completely. I would make things so difficult for them that I don't think they will dare to try that.
It will be double or quadruple hate that you idiots, and I don't think they want that. And anyhow, I haven't been sentenced to anything. It's I have subtitled a fucking Frenchman's video, and I held a sign saying that learn to swim. So these are two crimes I committed. I subtitled a video and I held a sign in a protest saying that learn how to swim. So I don't think these are crimes that can be taken into account when pondering if a city councilman can be removed out of office. I highly doubt it. When the Helsinki police interrogated me about this illegal sign, I told them that yes, I did commit a crime. I admit my crime. Holding a sign saying learn to swim is an incitement to hatred against minorities. This is what I told them, and they wrote it. And I'm waiting that they come up with some trial or whatever. But I just get to prove my point that we don't have any freedom of speech in Finland. And that's it. The only use or advantage for them was that I could not be present on Monday, the 28th of August. But so it's not a big deal. I'm very sorry for my voters that I had to miss that, but it really isn't my fault. I told the police many times that I need to be on Monday in my hometown because we have a city council meeting, but the police didn't care. They wanted to interrogate me about a video I had subtitled.
Yeah, I think Younes made some sort of a record by being interrogated on the same day for 5 counts of defamation of character and 2 hate incitements against the minority.
Yeah, there were some mental asylum patients that had complained about my videos that I had talked about them. I had called them idiots or on some videos, but it's not a crime. They are idiots. It is. I'm just telling the truth. And
yeah, and the defamation cases, of course, were pretty wonderful.
yeah, there's
like imagine the Helsinki police officer seriously asking Younes like, well, you had this demo sign that said learn how to swim. Did you mean to degrade the...
It was not defamation, it was incitement against a minority.
Yeah.
Se oli kiihottamista.
Yeah, but I said the 5 other counts were defamation.
Yeah, the others. For example, this mental patient called Petri Viitala who lives in Turku, who uses the nickname Swan Killer.
Just for me.
This fucking idiot uses on Twitter the account Swan Killer. So he's the victim because he calls himself Swan Killer. She's Swan. And he is a mental patient. He has been to...
If you want to see more of him, you should check my earlier live stream, My Favorite Stalker Live, in which I'll read some of the very artistic writings of that mental patient. who has been stalking me for the around last 12 months or so.
Yeah, the police interrogation was epic. One day, the papers, the official papers will be available. So it will. It's like the police asks me, "So do you know Petri Viitala?" Yes, he's a mental patient. He's a drug addict who. And it will be epic when I publish those papers, we will translate them into English so you can enjoy them. I don't think I will be that the case will go anywhere from there because this idiot has himself told this publicly that he is a mental patient. So if I just repeat what he says, it's not disclosing any private information. So anyhow, the Helsinki police is bullshit, like the Finnish police in general. They are a political police. If I were a leftist, anarchist, communist, they wouldn't hinder my political activity. But because if I hold a sign where it says just learn how to swim, how can it be taken into account by the police? Usually, if I make a police report that okay, this guy is threatening me, this guy is racist, they just tell me that we don't want to make anything. But when some anonymous idiot, it was an anonymous report, saying that yeah, Junes Laukka was holding a sign saying that learn how to swim. I think it demeans the Mediterranean drowning thing. What the
And
fuck?
even if it did demean or degrade the
so
people
what?
drowned at the Mediterranean, it still wouldn't be a crime by any Finnish law.
And how does it demean? Learn how to swim, and it didn't even. It had nothing to do with the fucking Mediterranean. It was about another. It was another inside joke.
It was a straight out quote from a social democrat minister who is big on multiculturalism, and she once said, and stop whining about the tidal wave of Islam and learn how to swim. So that's how the learn how to swim became an inside joke. It has nothing to do with the Mediterranean victims. It predates the current migrant crisis by far.
And there's one guy saying that get a sign from Die Hard saying I hate niggers. Yeah, why not? But maybe I should try a sign saying do not learn how to swim, and let's see where that gets us.
Yeah, because if your sign had said that, then they definitely would have made a filed that police report saying that, okay, you want people to die on the Mediterranean.
Learn how to drown. Shut the fuck up. Don't cross the Mediterranean. But it had nothing to do with the Mediterranean. But anyhow, in Finland it is illegal to hold a sign claiming learn how to swim. And since this sign was reported with incitement against a minority, it means that the police has the right to record your DNA, take photos of you. They took 5 photos of me. They measured my weight, my height. They asked me if I'm left or right-handed. They asked me if I had tattoos. They took 16 fingerprints of me. They recorded a sound sample of my voice. I had to read for 2 minutes a Wikipedia article. They held me for 3 days. They asked me to remove all my clothes. Fucking nonsense. Yeah, you incited against a minority. So who cares? No, we need your DNA. Okay, what will you do with it? We need your photos. Why? We need a sound sample. Why? You can watch YouTube. You have sound samples for more than 2 minutes. It's a completely fascist country. You can be a fucking communist and anarchist, blow up stuff, and the Helsinki police doesn't care. You can assault people. It's no big deal. But if you fucking subtitle a video or hold a sign in a protest, then they will arrest you.
And it's funny that these leftist politicians who want these laws to exist, and they want even more hate speech laws and harder punishments or penalties for hate speech, they are the ones who are always using the open society argument. They're saying that, but the values of open society demand that we open the borders and more migrants in, more Muslims in, embrace terrorism.
My T-shirt says "Close the borders."
It does. And apparently free speech and open discussion aren't a part of that open society they love to talk about so much. And somebody said in the comment section that he's not white. Oh my God, is that true?
Yeah, I'm black. But
holy shit, this is a deal breaker.
But
I'm moving out tomorrow.
Okay, I will save money. There was a riot in Finland, in Jyväskylä, in 200 miles south from our city. And there were migrants rioting there. No charges, nothing. They were hitting the riot police. They held the police for hostage for many hours. They caused tens of thousands of euros damage. Nothing. I hold a fucking sign saying "Learn how to swim." That's no. And we have fucking Green Party idiots even today saying that, yeah, civil disobedience is okay. But a sign saying "Learn how to swim" is not okay. Get the fuck out. You politicians are idiots. All the so-called tolerant idiots, they are in fact, they are fascists. They only want more immigrants into our country, and it's very twisted. They are. I'm not allowed to hate them, but if it were allowed to hate them, I would do it. Nice new haircuts, one. Yeah, we are with Princess Leia currently here.
I don't understand why everybody's referring to that. That this looks nothing like that. Like she had those big things down here,
yeah, but
and they were completely different shape than these.
You could identify as Princess Leia. So, should we show some footage of the migrant
yeah,
riot?
so we should get to the first big topic of tonight. So, what day was it that it happened?
It was on the 4th of September. I think it was Monday.
Yes. So the police in Jyväskylä, which is a town in pretty central Finland, were about to deport an Afghan family which held like a parent and a baby that was 8 months old. And when they went to pick these people up from the asylum seeker housing center, which was this group of apartments for families, and there were apartments or some sort of a housing block for these single people too. The other migrants started resisting. And when the cops tried to leave with these deportees and walk them to the police patrol car, the other migrants of the housing center, around 100 people or so, attacked these police officers and stopped them from taking the deportees away. So the cops had to retreat back to the housing center, and they were over there in an apartment stuck waiting for a backup. And then the backup arrived, and riot police arrived, and the situation lasted for hours. 6 hours it took to get those 3 people out of there. And first of all, it seemed that the cops were like complete pussies about it. They had a negotiator with them who tried to negotiate with these people, as if you can do that. Like, what did they expect there to happen? That you say this migrant, okay, but we really need to take these people to the deportation flights, and at some point they will say, okay, just take them away. Like that is ever going to happen with these Abala people?
The Finnish police, they are just complete retards. They're fucking completely useless pieces of shit. They cannot handle any situation like normal police officers. They are idiots. When there is a need for police force, it's not present. But when it is not needed, then they are very heavily present. And Swan said that they seemed like, no, they didn't seem. They were. Should we just show the footage? The police claimed that this was a successful operation. Yes, successful. They were taken as hostage. The operation lasted for 7 hours, and they didn't charge anybody. They took 2 guys that were hitting them with sticks, and get the fuck out. These are complete.
And they had to call in riot police from other towns because the city didn't have enough riot police in there. So, but anyway, this is how it went down.
Yeah, so fucking idiots. This was a peaceful protest. So this situation lasted for 7 hours, and it was a successful operation.
Yeah, and I don't understand those people. What's all that shouting and screaming about? Like the woman screaming all the time. Nothing is being done to her. She's just standing there and waving her hands and screaming, Why is she screaming? I seriously don't get these people.
If I were screaming there, they would take me right away. That you are causing trouble here. We will take you away.
If we try to even cross an asylum seeker housing center yard to peacefully just film between the two of us the location, they would immediately call the cops on us and we would be removed from the premises. And these people are there in their hundreds, shouting and screaming and waving their arms at the cops. Apparently, someone had kicked the police dog too, which was muzzled, and I think they should have just released the hounds on these people right then and there. And of course, as June said, this lasted for hours, this situation.
This is the papers I get from filming. And I didn't say a word there. I have been sitting in a library 2 years ago. I was taken away by the police because I was sitting there silently.
And by sitting there silently, saying nothing, doing nothing, he was annoying the leftists who held the event in the public place. So because the leftists asked, the cops removed him from a public place, which he was completely entitled to be in. So he was removed for sitting quietly in a library. And these people scream and act completely crazy over nothing. And
I'm a fucking city councilman, and these idiots are illegally in the country, and
but they are astrophysicists and brain surgeons and fighter pilots.
But they are illegally in the country, so why are these police officers sucking their dicks? Not mine. I don't want them to suck my dick, but at least let me be when I'm doing nothing. This creates a sense of inequality in this country, because these guys can do whatever they want and nothing happens. But if we are just present, we cause trouble by just being there. And the only result of this shit is that we get more angry. We get radicalized. We are not the only ones.
And imagine that our government actually has the goal to make a public announcement after the Turku terrorist attack, in which they publicly denounce all the party leaders, the terrorism, violence, and hate speech, as if those things are even remotely comparable. And a lot of the other parties tried to get racism in there too, but the Finns party refused. They said that if racism is listed on the same list with terrorism and violence, they are not going to go along with it. So racism was left out, but the party leaders denounced terrorism, violence, and hate speech. Like, how is hate speech? How does it land in the same category with violence and terrorism? Like, that's basically the same as saying we denounce terrorism, violence, and littering.
There's on a Wednesday they had a secret meeting in which they made an agreement that all hate speech will be condemned. And yesterday, on Thursday, in the Finnish parliament, there was one woman who is a presidential candidate, Laura Huhtasaari. She said that, I condemn the hate speech done by the terrorists against Western values and the Finnish people. And that caused a mess with the fucking no-brain idiots that call themselves as politicians.
And these
what the fuck is wrong with these people, really? There's people stabbing, illegal people stabbing citizens of this country. There are people doing truck of peace attacks, and their concern is that there's somebody using the wrong words on Facebook. So what the fuck is wrong with these idiots? And especially the media. What is their problem? Why are they whining about this, and why are they not reporting correctly on these issues? What the fuck is this shit? I don't understand. Close the borders, deport illegals, and that resolves the problems. We are not helping anything we are just causing trouble in our country by bringing these idiots. Send them to Sweden. Sweden can take care of them. We don't need this shit. And if they did this, we wouldn't be even in the politics. We would be just watching our TV series and minding our own business. But seeing this shit, we are activating. I have been for many years, but it would be so much easier. And it's not a big deal. Just close the borders and stop this immigration nonsense and this multicultural shit. And do whatever you want. But no, they want to cause problems because it's their job.
We are getting a bit sidetracked over here from the original topic, the riots.
Yeah, the riots. What happened in the riots?
But maybe we should move on to the some clip of the. Do you have any clip of the event when the riot police started going around and throwing people in the bushes and gassing the migrants? Because for a very long time it looked as if these riot cops were not going to do anything. And
I don't know, is there a...
Laita Jyväskylä, Erika.
Yeah. I don't know if there's copyrights on this, but let's...
No, I don't think there are. And then the riot police decided that they have to get the job done. They have to get the 3 Afghans who were about to be deported out of there. And then they started walking in front of this cop car that had the deportees in it. And as the migrants tried to block this line of riot police walking forward, they were having none of it. Like if some migrant tried to come and whine at them, they either gassed him with OC gas, or then they just grabbed the guy and threw him in the bushes from the road and were done with that. So, for example, there were some hilarious remixes made and some tapes of this event, and this was one that we ran into today.
This was one of them.
And the photo was fun too. I don't know if you have it anywhere, with migrants sitting on the road and cops gassing them. But yeah, it was shown on that tape too. So
let's watch this.
Just watch this.
So this is after 7 hours of negotiations. They finally decided. There's one thing. These idiots always claim that they are afraid of the officials because they have bad experiences in their own countries. But if you look at this, they're not afraid of anything. They have had the nerve of whining about this, and there's no real violence. Okay, there were some gassings, but they claim that in their home countries they get police violence. There's no violence there. They were blocking the street. So what are their real intentions and reasons to claim that they have been traumatized by their Afghani police or whatever? They see an army of riot police and
with dogs and everything,
and they are not afraid a bit about this. They are very aggressive, so they know that there's no real.
But let's see the end of the video, because you have the funny situation, I think, in there when the one migrant is thrown in the bushes. Or was it on this tape?
I don't think it's on this one, but
I think you can find it on Ambelehti.
Okay, I'll try to find it, but just I want to show this because this that reminded me of this.
Yeah, okay, guys, we're gonna shoot students. Okay, I just stepped in dog shit.
You stepped in some kind of shit.
Fair enough. You ready to do this thing?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Play my music.
Do a thing.
Kind of looks like I'm jerking off. And step. Stop me up. Stop me up. I never stop. Stop me up. Yeah, we're gonna need some help here. Oh, he's heavy. Yeah, spray that guy over there. Peace.
So it's kind of similar to that one. But yeah, there was one video where actually I have it on my laptop, but I don't remember. I can try and find it if you.
Yeah, and I just linked it to you on Facebook. Okay. The bush throwing incident. It was pretty funny. So as these migrant police were proceeding, one guy ran at them and they threw him on the ground. And I thought, like, maybe they are planning to arrest that guy or something. But no, something pretty funny happened there. So let's see the tape. Yeah, so they just took the guy, threw him in the bushes, lying down, and okay, let's just leave him there. He's out of the way. And they did that to a couple of other migrants too, but I think that was the funniest because they just grabbed him as a group and threw him there instead of just shoving him in the bushes like they did to the rest. And in the first or the previous clip, we had the same woman who had been screaming for hours in there. Like, imagine the lungs on her. And this Dothraki screamer was still there, waving her hands, pretending as if something terrible was happening to her. And she didn't have to be there. She chose to be a part of the riot. She could have just stayed at the asylum seeker housing center. cook food or something, not be a part of all that. But instead, she was there acting completely crazy, like she was a victim of something. And she chose to be a part of that. I really don't get the mentality of these people. And in the end, 2 people were arrested from there, and no charges were apparently filed.
No, 2 were arrested, or not arrested, but taken for
Taken in custody.
and they were released the next day. So maybe the next time I'm filming in Helsinki, maybe I should take the guy as a hostage, so I don't have to be for 3 days there. Maybe.
You should take some cops for hostage, then try to block them from doing their mission in there, and maybe hit them with sticks or something. Apparently, that's something you're allowed to do in Finland now without charge.
Do you remember the video which is composed of my arrest and your speech?
Do you mean the one on this channel?
No, but no, it was not this one. But the
I don't know, maybe the Arvolataus video.
yeah, it was that channel.
Yeah. And it was interesting to see the police responses to the Jyväskylä riot. Well, just show the video, I can explain later.
Joka pelon tuntee. Aina tiedätte, heitä ainakin kertomasta niistä. Mitä siis oli epänormaalina, jos ihmiset eivät tuntisi pelkoa ja vihaa?
So here I am filming.
Siellä nimittäin Etelä-Yorkshireissa asui sellainen pariskunta. Poliisi meni heidän kotiin ja vei sieltä lapsen huoltajiensa luota pois. Lakkoilujen ansiosta. Siksi, koska he olivat terroristeja. Ei vaan siksi, että he olivat tukeneet tukipuoluetta. Siinä on vain tapauksesta. Voisitteko te tietää kaikki kaikista ihmisistä?
This guy on the right is a fucking maniac. I was just filming there, but I should take him as a hostage. So
And beat the other one with the stick.
Yeah.
Teekö se kauaksi?
Sellaisen etäisyyden päähän, että jos hänen henkilötietoa käsitellään siinä, niin...
Aha, joo, tästä mä näen.
Joo.
Okei.
Tai ettei ääntä tallennu. Siltä se on se.
Joo.
Saa toki kuvata, mutta...
Joo.
Hän on verran kauemmas. Hyvä.
Meni jo.
So they are saying that you cannot film too closely because of his personal identity, but I had told the police that you can film this. So they took me for 3 days because I filmed fucking. Here's a. Here's a.
Meille on sanottu, että nämä henkilöt, jotka viranomaisten ja tutkijoiden mukaan jo nyt ovat radikalisoituneet.
So it's not a riot. It's a normal event where people are.
Turun perusteella, että se radikalisoituminen tuntuu sujuvan ihan hyvin ilmi.
Here is Swan was holding a speech, and
and I literally had to get on stage right after he was arrested. Like I just came down, and I was told, "Okay, you need to be on the stage." and I had memorized my speech. I never write anything down for speeches, and I was completely panicking that I was forgetting everything because of what had been going on, all the drama beforehand. But luckily, it went fine anyway. But apparently, this is where we are now as a country, that filming a peaceful event, or the nationalist event was peaceful, the other ones were trying to cause problems, can get you arrested for several days, but taking cops for hostage, beating cops with sticks, preventing police officers from doing their job, those are things that don't get you charged for anything. And it was funny how the leftist cops, because there are loads of those in the Finnish police force, especially in the Helsinki police force, were whitewashing this afterwards. For example, this one Helsinki police captain, who is the same police captain who I have been arguing with on Twitter on many occasions, and who was the one I was talking about in my video. A leftist cop tries to intimidate me for hate speech, and that cop said that this was a wonderfully executed operation. So, okay, you're supposed to take 3 people from location A to location B. That takes you 6 to 7 hours. Riot police from several different towns, and it lands 3 cops as hostages. Some cops beaten with sticks. People get gassed. People get thrown in the bushes, and that's all done to get 3 people from point A to point B. So how is that a wonderfully executed operation? How did that go smoothly? At what point did I miss? At what point did that happen? I must have missed the part where that went smoothly.
The riot was okay, but when I filmed the thing, that was violence.
And the same leftist cop also said about this situation that it was a completely everyday situation in which some emotions were running wild. So that's the sort of double thing or double standards they have, that if a right-winger like us writes something online, that's a national threat. It's hate speech, and hate speech is among the greatest threats to our freedom and nation. And then when there are people who are taking cops for hostages, beating cops with sticks, kicking police dogs, it's emotions running wild.
Fucking retards. The police in Finland are retards, every one of them. The politicians are retards. The media, need I say, but they are retards. They're fucking retards. And that's the way it is.
And I actually had a rematch with that cop about the Rinkeby situation, about the time in which he tried to intimidate me on Twitter for a live I did in Rinkeby, Stockholm, or we did, because it had naughty speech on it. And it was in no way in his jurisdiction. There was no crime in there. He simply had stalked my Facebook videos, seen that, and decided to make a huge deal about some words said on that video. And then, of course, I ended up making this video. The leftist cop tries to intimidate me for hate speech. But apparently he hadn't seen that, even though I had tagged him in it when I did it in winter. And just a few days ago, this one leftist bitch goes on Twitter telling the police officer, this police captain Jussi Huhtala, that okay, Tina has called you a bitch on one of her English videos. And then the police captain goes, oh, Tina, have you really done that? Now I am confused. And I said, I don't remember because I have a lot of videos, but that does sound like me. But maybe we should do that again today in Finnish, just in case. And then he asked for a link for that video because he's involved now. And I link him the video, and I give him like timestamps to the portions in which I call him names. And then he says, not like this, Tina dear, never like this. And he puts like the sad emoji after his tweet. And I simply responded, yeah, and the word asshole might have also come up near the end of the video. And
there's one comment saying that you must realize the cops are not on your side. Well, I'm completely
imagine that.
I'm completely aware of this, and I try to notify people of this, that they are not on our side. They are on the side of the multiculturalists and the open borders activists and such. They are fucking losers, every one of them. One is asking, which, if any, European politicians do you admire? I'm thinking of Orban as being strong. Yeah, Orban is very strong. He's strong on borders. But besides Eastern Europe, well, there's in Holland there's Geert Wilders. In France there's Marine Le Pen. In Finland there's Jussi Halla-aho.
And Laura Huhtasaari.
Yeah, she's the presidential candidate currently. The election is in January. In Sweden, there are some, like Kent Ekeroth. In Denmark, there's this Danish folk party. Which there are some, but the problem is that the parliament in the parliament they have like 10 to 20%, so it's not enough. But of course in Hungary they are the majority, so things are going very smoothly there.
Yeah, and of course all the other parties always join in against these people, these nationalist parties. And that's how they, for example, managed to keep Wilders and his Freedom Party out of any positions of power, even though they get a lot of votes. Because when they start negotiations for the spots in the government, none of the other parties will cooperate with the Freedom Party, so they aren't able to form a government on their own. And the same is being also done to the Swedish Democrats in Sweden. And the leftist media is trying to coax the Finnish parties to do that to the Finns party. and leave them out like that. But at least until now, the other party leaders have been very reluctant to do that, because it would be highly untraditional in Finland to leave any party out, because the idea is that if people have voted some party in parliament, it's automatically eligible for the government.
There's talk about Listhaug. She's in Norway from the Progress Party, Fremskrittspartiet Party, and she wanted to go to Rinkeby in Sweden to talk about the problems, but the Swedish politicians said that no, we will not talk to you because you have an election. That's populism to point out the problems of immigration. But yeah, in every country there are good politicians, but do they get the support they need? It's a different story. And the election system in France, yeah, I've talked a lot about this in our Finnish streams. That
when these parliament members are voted in one by one, so then the nationalists, if they even end up with 49% in each vote, they will get no representation at all, because each parliament member is chosen individually. So there is no representation in ratio with the amount of votes you have had. You might get millions of votes, but still you get no places in the parliament if you just end up on the minority side of issues. Of course, if you're in the majority, that can also work for you, for the nationalists, as it did in the Finns party, when the Finns party chose a new leadership to replace the cucks that had run the party that far. And because the nationalists had a majority in the party convention, and each of the chairmen were chosen individually in a separate vote, they were able to knock all of these cucks off one by one and replace them with the nationalists.
One says it's the same with the UKIP, and yeah, that's true. In the UK, they are strong, but the election system makes them disappear from the parliament.
Yeah. But we have been going on for about an hour or so maybe we should move on to the two other topics we had. So should we start with the hate speech cup or with the Tornio migrant walkout?
The walkout was an interesting thing.
Yeah, I think the hate speech cup would be a funny end, like a lighter topic for the end. So
yeah, so on a Tuesday there was a protest at the Finnish-Swedish border, which you might have seen on our live stream. Tornio is the city, and it's less than 100 miles from here, and we went there to look at things, and so there were about 50 to 60 Iraqis protesting deportations, and they claim that they want to walk to Sweden and claim asylum there again, because 2 years ago, in September 2015, they walked from Sweden to Finland. As everybody knows, in 2015 there was a huge walk from Greece towards the north. Some stayed in Germany, some walked to Denmark, some continued to Sweden, and a few, 32,000, walked to the north of Finland and came from there. And we were there again in 2017, the current year, 3 days ago, and we were witnessing a very rare event in which the asylum seekers that had claimed or sought asylum in Finland went back to Sweden. This, I think, has never happened anywhere in the European Union. And we were there. I was the first to interview the organizer, and he said that we will not be walking to Sweden. I said, why? You're disappointing us. I said,
Why you promised to
Why?
go?
Please. He said that I've heard that the police might catch us. I said, no, that's false. And then I interviewed the police, the Finnish police, and then the Swedish police. And they said, no, we will not catch them. They are free to walk over the border. So I went back to the organizer and told him, I just asked the police, and they said that you can walk there. There's no problem. You should go to Sweden. And we had made a sign.
Our Swedish audience is going to thank you for this.
We had made a sign which said, I don't know if it's illegal. Maybe I will be interrogated for this sign, but the sign said, Sweden says welcome, hashtag just do it. And we had a friend, Tuukka, who has spoken in many different events. He was holding that sign, and he caught all the attention of the mainstream media, the Swedish media, the Finnish media. They were all interrogating him. What do you mean? At first they thought he was a Swedish idiot that wants these migrants back to Sweden. But then as he thought, I don't speak Swedish, they understood that, yeah, he's a Finnish racist.
And all these media people, they were, because all of the Finns there, they were egging these migrants on. They wanted them gone. So the media, of course, was having a tough time finding a white person who would actually be sympathetic to the migrants. And when they saw Tuukka standing with the Sweden says welcome sign, they were just drooling. Like, imagine, now we have a Swedish libtard we can interview and we get the right opinions for our news piece. And then they got a huge disappointment when Tuukka started saying that, okay, we want these people out. Sweden has chosen to turn itself into a multiculturalist hellhole. We don't need to get destroyed like that. I'm only looking out for the interest of the Finnish people. I don't care about the asylum seekers.
And one question was that from the journalist was that, are you fighting for the refugees' rights or for the Finns' rights? The immediate answer was, I care only about Finns. Then the
dumb reporter asked, why?
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 What are you, a fucking retard? Get the fuck out of my face. It was a nice event. I hope this event will reproduce so we can go more often to Sweden. Sweden, well, it's a bullshit country, but they have a very cheap beer, cheaper than in Finland,
and cheap candy.
Yeah, and some benefits that, but at the end I'm not claiming anything, but I think that maybe if we hadn't been there, maybe they wouldn't have gotten the courage to go there, because I noticed that we interviewed lots of the migrants, and everyone had a different version of the official truth. Some thought that if they go to Sweden, they will be extradited to Iraq. Some thought that they will be sent back to Finland. Some thought that they will be blocked from going to Sweden. And as a fact-checking team, we set the record straight and told them that no, you can just go there. And they went there finally after 3 hours. and the Swedish police called a bus that took 55 of these migrants to Sweden, and now their applications will be reviewed in Sweden. And well, there's of course the possibility that they will be brought back to Finland, because there's the Dublin Agreement that states that if you have claimed asylum in a certain country and you seek asylum in a second country, you will be taken back to the first country. But there's also this fact that the fingerprints in the Eurodac system are held only for 18 months. And since they entered Finland over 2 years ago, maybe their fingerprints have been erased from that system. And maybe there will not be Dublin cases. And even if they are found to be Dublin cases, there is a small possibility that Sweden will just say that, yeah, we will, since Finland is a racist country, we will take them. And if they do that, imagine the line that will be at the border. They will, if they do it, and the very same day that they got to the Swedish asylum center, they were already posting pictures of that center, videos. They were
showing photos of the food they were offered. They were offered soup and salad and bread and all the warm meal right when they arrived there.
And also at the protest, there were some so-called racists holding signs with that we don't want Islam in Finland, and with mosques being barred and so on. And one of their posts was epic, because there was this, look at this guy welcoming us to Sweden, which was our guy, with Sweden says, well, and look at these Finnish people saying that we don't want Muslims. So we I don't know, well, they are very highly skilled and very educated astrophysicists and whatnot, but they didn't understand the reverse psychology that we used on them, claiming that Sweden says welcome. We are not Swedes. Well, we could be Swedes since we have been in Sweden, so actually we are half Swedes. But they really thought that the Sweden says welcome sign was genuine. So, well, we saved millions of euros. Finland, we should be celebrated as heroes, but we are just called racist. But we are helping the refugee crisis situation.
Yeah, and when Tuukka was holding that sign saying Sweden says welcome, some Finnish-speaking men from Sweden came to him very angrily and said, well, if you want those guys in, then you should be the one paying for them. And they were really furious at him. Then when he said, okay, I'm not Swedish, they suddenly realized that, okay, he's trolling, and they got the joke.
Yeah, they were old guys, like 60 years old. They were living in Sweden. Get the fuck out, you, with the fucking sign. But then they understood, and okay. But
and it was especially funny to see how the Swedish reporters reacted when they tried to interview Tuukka. Of course, because they thought he was some Swedish libtard, they started all the interviews in Swedish. And Tuukka simply replied, I don't speak Swedish. And then they started wondering, okay, if you're not Swedish, how can you say welcome to these people? And then he would get going. And these Swedish reporters, you have to understand that the attitude climate in Sweden is completely different from that one in Finland. Like, you can hear a lot of nationalist speech in Finland. nationalist opinions. But in Sweden, these reporters, they never hear stuff like that. Nobody never lays it out for them straight out. So they were in this complete state of shock when Tuukka got going.
And after this retard had interviewed Tuukka, I asked her, so what is your problem? You don't like the sign? Do you disagree with the sign? You are from Sweden. Don't you need more of your multicultural people? Sweden is an aging country. You need more skilled working force and so on. And then she was like completely she didn't know what to say. But then she went on to say, yeah, but in the Second World War, you sent us refugees. Yeah, from Finland, some kids were sent to Sweden. And I asked her, yeah, but what age were they? Were they the same age that these Iraqis? I asked her, are Sweden and Finland neighboring countries? Are Finland and Iraq neighboring countries? And then, well, we were serving her completely. And at one point, she says that I'm not surprised that the Finnish journalists are so racist. And I replied to her, and this is true. I said that to me you look like a retard, and which you probably are. And then she says, "Oh, thank you. I said, you're welcome." And she was from this TV channel, and this is what is left of her. She was completely destroyed, and well, there are many people, many anti-racist claiming that we are not real journalists, but taking into account that a Swedish journalist believes that I'm a journalist, makes me a journalist.
Of course.
And now I have a microphone. So, what did you think about the riot in the protest in at the border?
I think it was absolutely hilarious.
Yeah.
By far the best day of the month.
Yeah, we got 55 out, and that makes a lot of savings to Finland, and it makes Sweden has entered a multicultural mode, and the Jews will be.
And someone said it in the comment section of this channel when I was making the videos from the event, that Swan is so excited by this walkout that she's on coke and won the lottery.
Yeah, and we hope that there will be more of these events, and we will be covering them. And
yeah, we should talk about the plan too.
And also, we will be entering the same bus as these idiots, or these, these astrophysicists. Because my first plan was to walk with them and also seek asylum. But when I heard that the asylum center is 80 miles from the border, I said no, because I couldn't live stream from there, and I was not prepared. But the next time they have this, we will go both there, and we will be live streaming from the asylum center. I think there's Wi-Fi on those places, so we can use that.
They must have a good Wi-Fi.
Yeah,
because the riots for the slow Wi-Fi have stopped. They haven't had those in a couple of years in Sweden, so they must have improved the Wi-Fi in the asylum centers.
So we'll be reporting live from the asylum centers in Sweden, and it's easy. I'll say that I'm 5 years old, and she's my mother. She's from Indonesia. I'm from Syria,
Syria, you are the Syrian refugee child.
and
Maybe we should put Aylan Kurd as your name.
Yeah.
Aylan Kurd, 5 years old.
I should wear the same shit he had.
Yeah, like jeans and the red t-shirt. Say that the journey was very stressful.
Yeah, I almost drowned there, but luckily there was a sign saying "Learn to swim." And I learned how to swim.
Another sign that says Sweden is welcome, so I
Yeah.
came here.
I was swimming through the signs, and I was. But yeah, I think there will be more of these events. I have a certain feeling that.
And they say Swan needs a black sheet, and we actually have a makeshift book we made out of dyed sheets.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and Younes has actually worn it to one live stream he made.
Yeah, but since my YouTube account has been taken down, it's been terminated by YouTube. I was in the railway station. I was witnessing Islamophobia, but nobody said anything. In the train, there was this. He asked, "Do you have tickets?" Yes. But nothing happened. So this was the Swedish riot, or the protest. Is the next topic.
Let's take the hate speech cup for the end. I think it's a
Okay.
nice light topic. So in Finland, the online cups all have these sort of similar looking accounts on Twitter. Usually the account name is either their rank or their full name. And as the profile pic, they have the police logo with the cup's face on the left side of the photo. So, and these, as I said, the Finnish cops are notoriously leftist. So they tweet the darndest things. And one Finnish, apparently right-winger, had spotted this phenomenon and decided that he will create a police account of his own. And here is the guy. And as you can say, he claims to be Keijo Kaarisade, and his description says, Keijo Kaarisade, #police, #hate speech unit, which is actually a thing. Hate speech unit does exist in Finland. #hate speech ops, #Finland 100 years, #no to hate speech, and it says parody account, exclamation mark. #responsibility of speech, #nice speech, and he calls himself the peacekeeper for the peace of opinions. And as you might notice, yes, his account, first of all, it says parody account. His profile picture has the comedian Louis C.K. on it, and his handle is at vihapuhepoliisi, which means hate speech cup. And this guy, he tweets, like he mocks the left-wing cups by tweeting the dumbest multiculturalist and SJW bullshit you can imagine. But because the Finnish cups are so leftist, a lot of people mistook this profile for a real police profile. And when a Finnish a textile company called Finlayson launched a campaign.
Look at this one.
Okay, so he says, at least, yeah, Hitler did bad things too, but at least he didn't condemn hate speech without also condemning racism at the same time. #unknown waters. So this is the sort of stuff he tweets. And a lot of people mistook this profile for a real profile of a police officer. And for example, the chief of staff in the Interior Ministry of Finland, the ministry in charge of immigration matters, had liked and retweeted this guy. Also, the former party leader of the Green Party, Ville Niinistö, had liked this guy. Who are the others? Yes, Mikko Paatero, who is a very high-ranking police officer in Finland, and the parliament member Satu Hassi also. So a lot of green-red people had liked and retweeted this guy without realizing that he is a parody account, even though he has Louis C.K. on the profile picture. And
in this one, he says that if you are unsure how to react on news in the social media, at least condemn racism. Hashtag racism.
Yeah, so this is the sort of stuff he says. And when he wasn't yet a known troll, and he got a lot of likes and retweets from politicians, real cops, and people like that, who didn't get the joke even from the straight out description parody account. He also landed on a mainstream media newspaper. And the newspaper Iltalehti in Finland was making an article of the textile company Finlayson having a campaign for equality in Finland. For 1 week, they gave women a discount so that women only paid 83% of the price men paid because of the wage gap. So, of course, a lot of people criticized that campaign, saying that that campaign for equality is against equality. And this parody account, Hate Speech Cup, said, this campaign by Finlayson is offensive because it offends tens of, or it discriminates against tens of other genders. And of course, you can immediately say that, okay, there's this guy with the Louis C.K. profile picture. He says that he's Hate Speech Cup, Keijo Kaarisade, which isn't a real name. Doesn't even sound like a real name. Like Kaarisade is like rainbow in reverse, like Bahrain or something. So it doesn't even sound like a real name.
These fucking retards from the media, they took him for a legit guy.
And this mainstream media newspaper, they quoted him in an article saying that this Finlayson campaign is creating much discussion online. And for example, this policeman Keijo Kaarisade is saying on Twitter that this campaign offends tens of other genders. Yeah, and so then they were, of course, mocked like crazy for it. And they quickly edited the story, removed his tweet from there, and added part in the end in which they said, okay, we have removed the tweet by Keijo Kaarisade because he's not a real police officer.
Here's one where he says that I was walking at this statue in the center of Helsinki, hashtag right to live. I see doctors, I see engineers ready to help. Hashtag Finland 100 loses many possibilities. Hashtag stop deportations. So this is the kind of shit that he tweets, and the fucking retards and the media, they don't even see that he's a fucking fake.
But in the end, I have to like be fair and admit that yes, but we have so many crazy leftist cups in Finland that it's understandable in a way that they might mistake these tweets for real cups tweets. It's the other parts of the account that should have rung bells, like the Louis C.K. profile picture, like the name Keijo Kaarisade, which isn't a real name, or the way he uses his handle. He calls himself the Hate Speech Cup, and real hate speech cops, like cops from the hate speech unit, they don't call themselves hate speech cops because that would make them sound just as ridiculous as they are. But when they call themselves like chief of the hate speech unit, it makes it sound more serious and less ridiculous. It sort of blurs what they are actually doing, which is browsing online and looking for hate speech. And so they never call themselves hate speech cops.
Yeah, we had a live stream in Finnish where we compared the real cops to this one, and basically nobody made a difference.
Yeah, we for several hours on that live stream, we read tweets that were from one of the three accounts. Like all of the tweets were picked from three accounts. This hate speech cup, which is a parody account, and a police captain and a police constable in Oulu, Jussi Huhtela and Jari Taponen, who are real cops. And we first read the tweet, and the audience had to guess whether the multiculturalist stupidity was from this parody account or whether it was from actual cops in the Helsinki police force. And almost always the opinions were very divided, that people really had difficulty telling which stupidity was a real stupidity from a real police officer and which was parody. So our cops are crazy enough to manage to resemble a parody, that you cannot even parody them, because no matter how crazy you get, they will always stop you.
Even we had difficulties.
Yeah.
Although we were the ones that had collected all the tweets, and we had to double check every time that is this the real one or not.
Yeah, like when we were counting the votes that the audience gave, we had to check, like, okay, yeah, was this like the hate speech cup, or was this police captain Jussi Huhtela?
There's one in which he says that a grenade flies only a few dozen kilometers and hurts only once. In Twitter, it's different. Hashtag targeting. Okay, there's this tweet. In East Germany, you needed a permit for a typewriter, but nowadays everybody has a Twitter account. Hashtag
irresponsibility.
Hashtag the Wild West. So this is the kind of shit that this guy writes. And nobody knows if it's a real cop or not. And this is the state.
Like his tweets sound really enough. They sound like stuff real Finnish cops might just say.
This is the state of affairs in Finland. It's very well. It's funny, but it's at the same time it's very worrying, because we should be in a free country, but this absurdity that is ongoing in this country with this fucking hate speech. We are very envious of the United States, where the Supreme Court says that there is no hate speech. Even the Washington Post, the Supreme Court says there is no hate speech.
Oh, hate speech exception.
Yeah. So,
but anyway.
So that should be in Finland also. We should have politicians saying that, fuck you with your fucking hate speech. There is no hate speech. If people just say their opinions, they should not be prosecuted or harassed by the police. But this is and at the same time, this double speech that we have an open society. How is it open if people cannot talk? And how is this Twitter or any social media or any internet or even a sign in a protest can be hate speech? So that's the reason we are involved in politics. We want to change this, because it cannot go on forever. And the reason it has gone so far in other countries in Europe is that people have been passive, and they had they started this multicultural shit decades before Finland. But in Finland, it started in 1990, about the same time the internet got almost mainstream. So since we have the internet and people can talk and exchange ideas and bypass the mainstream media and get directly to other people, people know that there are other people that think the same. But in Europe, since they started this shit in the 60s or 50s or 70s, they had no way of communicating efficiently with one another. So, but in Finland, we have this possibility to stop this shit and become like Hungary or another normal Eastern European country. And the next election for parliament is in 2019. The presidential election is in next year, January. But the parliament election is 2019. And maybe we can get some sense there. There's 40% of the population that does not vote. But maybe if they see that there are some sensible people that will rise against this insanity, that maybe there's a chance, and it's not a hopeless situation, but it looks very. We do live streams in Finnish almost every day because we see a stupid article and we want just to comment it on YouTube because we are both banned on Facebook. No, you got your ban removed a few days ago. But
yeah,
I have
let's
still.
see how long it lasts this time. I think it was like 4 days last time.
I have still 10 days, and my YouTube channel was removed. But we try to influence people that just to get this, and it's. I think it's important to get in the Finnish YouTube more content than the usual makeup and cat and this stupid nonsense. Of course, they have the right to do their nonsense, but I think it's important to have also intelligent political discussions in the Finnish, and which are not politically correct, and that's important. And I don't know why we have to fear either the limited or restricted state or fear of strikes, or we are not inciting any hatred. We are just talking about stuff, and we are not radicals or anything. Well, some people might call us radicals, but this is.
And Facebook and YouTube are so hilarious with their stuff because after I got my ban lifted on Facebook, my 30-day ban, and made my first post, a friend told me that he had gotten a notification from Facebook saying, Tiina Viik posted something for the first time in a while. I wonder why is that? Why had there been a break in my posting? Tell me, Facebook. And then YouTube first removes his channel, puts mine restricted, or in the restricted state. Then yesterday I started getting these suggestions from YouTube when I'm in the creator mode, and these suggestions tell me that I would have so much easier time keeping my channel comments tone right if I used some tool of theirs that automatically makes comments that are deemed inappropriate to be waiting for moderation. So if I use that tool, all of your comments on my videos that YouTube deemed inappropriate would land in the spam box. And why would I do that? Why would I use that tool? Why would I join in their hunt of inappropriate speech? Oh my God. Like the goal of them to even suggest that to me after what they have done. Fuck you.
Yeah. So
So
do we have other topics? I think not.
I don't think we have anything. If there's something the commenters would like to say, now is the time before we quit.
I don't know if it's very visible. Can you see your own comments? And if you can, then talk. But
Let's see if there's anything here. Okay, race war now. That escalated quickly.
tomorrow we'll have a Finnish live stream rating music videos. It's on Tuone Joutsen, the channel.
And somebody's asking, Tiina, how has the violent crime in Finland changed over the last 15 years? Well, that's sort of two different topics, because the crime committed by Finns, native white Finns, has been on a downward trend for a long time. So native Finns commit less and less crime. But for example, in sex offenses, the newcomers, even though they are a much smaller group, the Muslim men, like there are 5 million Finns, and like few tens of thousands of these migrants, they still manage to hike the sexual offenses enough to get a rise in the sexual offense statistics. Like the sex offenses went up with over 400 crimes between 2015 and 2016. And the sex offenses by native Finns was down. But it was the foreigners who managed to create that hike all on their own, even though they are such a small group.
Well, I don't have the rape statistics now, but here are the assault crimes, the batteries in Helsinki since 1980 to 2011. And one of the Twitter cops that we were talking about says that violent crime has gone down in Helsinki. But to me, this looks like a huge rise. I don't know.
Yeah, and of course, Helsinki is the most enriched area in Finland. The foreign population there is much larger than it is in any place else.
Yeah, before the so-called migrant crisis, the statistics said that 50% of foreigners lived in Helsinki. There's one guy asking, do you speak Arabic so we can imposter as a migrant? No, I do not speak.
But not all migrants do either. Like some of them speak other languages. For example, French is talked in some countries. So French is enough. And you don't have to say anything. You can just shut up and just say some name, or not even say any name.
Yeah, in 2015, I did the test, and it was September 2015 or October, and during the night I was at the same city where the last protest was, and I walked to Sweden and walked back, and there was a customs officer that asked me, and things, and I just acted like I was mute, and I did not speak anything. I was just waving my hands, and he asked me for papers. I gave him coupons for a hamburger restaurant, and I filmed the thing, but since my YouTube channel was taken down, I do not have that footage now.
Yeah, someone says asyl ?
Yeah, that was what the officer asked me. I was just waving my hands.
So he basically offered that at him, like, are you seeking for an asylum? You don't even have to say asylum yourself anymore. These guys will do it for you if you just pretend you're mute, wave your hands at them, and offer them like a burger place coupons when they ask for your paperwork.
Yeah. Swana, Younes, have you seen what's going on with the Burmese people?
I know there's some problem with the Muslims, the Rohingya or something like that.
Yeah, but I think it's the Muslims' fault here, even though the mainstream media tries to say that
they're the most persecuted minority in the world. But usually when there are Muslims and some other group and they are having problems, it's usually the Muslims' fault.
Yeah.
Like, for example, you take Europe. Europeans could coexist with them, but they are causing problems for us. So we are not coexisting, and it's not our fault.
Yeah, that's what I would say. And many times when the mainstream media claims something, it's the opposite.
Yeah, so someone says the Muslims started it, the Buddhists overreact.
Well, it's not. It's yeah, but well, it might be an interesting topic, but what does it change? What are our opinions on that? It's like the Palestine-Israel conflict. What does it matter which side we take? It's their problem. Should we take the Buddhists as refugees or the Muslims as refugees from Burma? Finland actually has taken lots of Burmese. Younes, are you still employed in your local parliament? Well, it's not a local parliament; it's the city council, and of course I'm a councilman there. I missed one meeting, but it was not my fault. It was the police's fault because they jailed me for 3 days.
The BBC did an article on ISIS fighters who are refugees in Germany and the Netherlands. Yeah, and we have had that in Finland too, like not just hypotheticals on like guesses on how many ISIS fighters there are among these people. But for example, there were these two guys who came over here as asylum seekers and went on trial for taking part in the Camp Speicher massacre by ISIS. And I don't remember how many murders they were charged with. They were Iraqi twins, but it was a lot. And they were even released because the police work between Finland and Iraq, the Iraqi police didn't really work out. And with all of the eyewitness testimonies, because these guys were twins, they could say, yeah, but you don't know which one of us it was. And if you can't prove definitely which one of the guys did what, you cannot convict them because you would have to know what crime, what specific crime you are convicting them of. So they used them being twins as like this get out of jail free card in face of these eyewitness testimonies.
Yeah, they were also interviewed by MTV3 channel, and I don't know, it looked like bullshit. One is asking, which side do you take, Muslims or Finns? Well, that's such a stupid question that I will not answer that. Do you have Russian refugees in Finland? Yes, we do. Asylums should be only for temporary time, and that's actually what the Geneva Convention also says, that it's only a limited time.
And that's how the refugee status in general was planned to be, that it's something temporary, that you don't integrate and move to another country permanently, but you go there, you seek for refugee in the nearest safe location, then you wait for there until your own area is safe again and you can return. But for some reason, these new asylum seekers are taken in completely differently. At the moment they come here, our officials and politicians start talking about integration into the Finnish society, educating these people, finding jobs for them. Like, okay, are we now supposed to think that these people are staying for the rest of their lives? Like, that's not how the Geneva Convention made it out to be. That's not what the refugee status was planned for.
Yeah, but since our officials are retards, they do not. They are always on their side, and since there's a since they were on trial, there's a small chance that they will be persecuted. They will not be deported, and even if they wanted to deport them, since they do not have any ID, it's impossible to deport them, since our politicians are so incapable of negotiating anything with the Iraqis. The last time was today. Our interior minister told us that the Iraqis don't want to take any undocumented Iraqis back, and we cannot offer them money. We cannot bribe them. We can offer them expertise, but we cannot offer them money. But we are still giving them development aid. But if we had normal politicians saying that, hey, Iraq, either you take these your own citizens back, or we'll stop everything, it would work. But we have some so retarded women in politics, and even our interior minister is a woman, and even if the minister was a man, which it was before, it doesn't change anything, because they are also I don't know what they are, but they're fucking retarded people. I don't know why they want these fucking Iraqis to Finland. I don't know. I have no idea. Maybe they get money from somewhere, but
Adam is asking, Tina, what is you and your husband's opinion on Milo Yiannopoulos? He posts often about the refugee crisis in Europe. Well, Milo has a lot of good speeches and events, for example, when it comes to free speech or feminism and things like that, but I don't really consider himself, him or a nationalist. He's more like very alt-light, a sort of gateway drug into actual nationalism. But I'm not like a nationalist Puritan in any way. I'm not one of those people who say you have to think this and this to be in the right. But I think there is a time and place for all different sorts of people. And these people like Milo and these anti-SJW channels on YouTube, and these alt-lighters, they are an easy gateway drug into the nationalist scene, because if you present people like, say, Jared Taylor or Richard Spencer to your average normie, they aren't going to want to hear about it. It sounds too racist, too offensive to them. So they won't even consider. But if you like smooth the landing with first turning those people from left-wingers and normies into right-wing, into realizing how completely insane the left is, how completely insane the migrant crisis and the handling of it is, then you have much easier time discussing those people into, or debating those people into accepting more radical or more, say, straight out nationalist views. So I'm not one of those nationalists who hate Milo Yiannopoulos because he's not nationalist enough or because he's a degenerate. Of course he's degenerate. Everybody can tell that. And of course he's not a nationalist, but people like him are useful. And I don't think Milo himself really, and people like him really realize what sort of people they are paving a way for. That they are paving the way for someone so much more radical than themselves.
Oh, but Milo is very cool.
And I think like Paul Joseph Watson sort of realized it, because in the beginning when he was talking about the alt-right, he was defending the alt-right and even using the word we when talking about the alt-right, as if he was a part of that, even though he has never been a part of the alt-right. And then when he started to realize what sort of people he actually was dealing with, that these are actually white identitarians, and they don't want to preserve Western values. They want to preserve white values. They want to preserve white countries, and they want a completely different regime type than the one he supports. They have very different ideas from your average classical liberal ideas that I think PJW more likely supports. Then he started like distancing himself from those guys when he started to realize that, okay, these guys are really serious, first of all, and okay, these people are much more right-wing than I assumed.
There's a short video that we could show quickly.
Yeah.
It's a nice one.
about that, I came to think maybe, or have we decided on yet on the Netherlands thingy?
I think it's yeah, but I don't know if we should disclose this information, but we can. I don't know.
No, if you, that's why I was asking that if you want to talk about it, but of course we can talk about that later on.
Yeah, let's leave it to another broadcast.
Yeah. But we have something interesting coming up at some point over here, but we will keep you up to date once we get our plans like detailed enough. And
should we end this?
Yeah, we could end with the song, and Younes picked a song which actually is my ringtone. And when we were in a seminar presenting our city, because Younes is a councilman and I'm a vice city councilman, or councilwoman,
Council
person, of course. And there were around 1,000 people in the conference room. And I got bored, so I left the room for a while and went out today. When I returned, Younes tells me that my phone had started ringing and that he had trouble finding it from my purse. So there were 1,000 people listening to this in a conference by the entrepreneurs of Finland. So maybe we should call it a night and play the song.
Yeah, thanks for watching. This is our final video. This is the end, and thanks everybody.
Yeah, good night everyone.
Subscribe and do like the video.
The president of Mexico yesterday, or the ex-president, whatever, whoever, he said, we will not pay for the wall, even consider paying for the wall. So, who's gonna pay for the wall? Who's gonna pay for the wall? Who's gonna pay for the, who's gonna pay for the, who's gonna pay for the wall? Who's gonna pay for the wall? Who's gonna pay for the wall? Who's gonna pay for the, who's gonna pay for the, who's gonna pay for the wall? So I get a call from one of the reporters yesterday, and they said, the president of Mexico said, they will not, under any circumstances, pay for the wall. They said to me, what is your comment? I said, the wall just got 10 feet higher. It's true. It's true.